Good evening and welcome to Dad Bod's Crab Cakes and Sports. We are husky, we are middle aged, and we are men. And we are talking Baltimore sports, whether it's from to the bank and beyond, all that fun stuff. We're talking Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. John here with Mike and myself, Jason. Welcome this evening, everybody, or if you're driving to work the next morning. Fellas, how you doing this evening?
Fantastic.
Good, Jason.
Michael?
Good to see you, buddy. I'm well.
Oh, that is
Choose some sun,
fabulous.
Mike.
My
You got some
shoulders are
sun.
really well. So, you guys are familiar. If you're familiar with Neapolitan ice cream, you guys ever had Neapolitan ice cream, where it's like a slice of vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate all in one? That's basically what my body is like right now. My shoulders are a nice strawberry, where nobody can see is white, and then every other part is like a chocolate brown because of my adventures this weekend. So,
And what were those adventures, Mike? Why don't you share with the people?
we were part of a team affectionately known as the River Shitters, which was our canoe trip group. Um, and basically, we floated down the Susquehanna River on canoes for about 6 hours. Water was moving pretty good. Basically, we were moving at a pace of about 2 beers per hour just down the river. And it was a nice little float. And I survived, but I forgot about sunscreen on my shoulders. With the dad bod, I'm not used to taking my shirt off, but the river was so nice, I decided to do that. I was just comfortable, and I did not apply sunscreen to my shoulder region, and it is quite bright red. But a lot of fun this weekend with the boys. It was 22 guys that went camping this weekend, so we caused quite a little bit of ruckus in the Shenandoah area. Jason, you're familiar with. We passed by Winchester there on our way to the canoeing.
Winchesterton's Fieldsville, Iowa. Yes, that was a good time. I did spend 4 years there of my life.
Right by
It
Boo
wasn't
Radley's apple tree. Yeah.
right. It wasn't prison or anything for the 4 years. It was college. So it was a good time. I enjoyed it. No, that's a nice area, Mike. It's funny. I guess you don't spend much time down here in Florida because you would never forget to put on sunscreen. You have to put on sunscreen just to take the trash out. And usually that's done at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You still have to put sunscreen on. So that's a lesson for you, Mike. What about you, John? Anything exciting? Are you floating down any rivers or getting your shoulders red, or what are you doing?
Nah, nothing like that. I'm just, just doing the old car sales thing. You got to go pick a guy up from the airport tomorrow who's buying a car. He's supposed to be bringing me a whole thing of freshly distilled Kentucky bourbon. So I'm looking forward to that. He's because I'm picking him up at the airport and doing the whole shtick. So he's supposed to be bringing me Kentucky bourbon. Here's the only problem: is he only has a carry-on, so I don't think he can put it in the carry-on. But I'm
I think
not
he's
sure.
lying to you. I think he's lying to you.
I don't know. I'll be
What
very upset if he is lying. But
did he name the bourbon?
he didn't name the bourbon. He took a picture of it in his hand and said, "This is what I'm bringing."
Is
I
it
don't
is
know.
the name on the bottle?
I know. No, he just was holding it like this. Like all I saw was like the top of the bottle. I didn't actually see the
John's
label.
getting apple. John's getting apple juice. This is great.
Yeah, probably. Maybe distilled apple cider. Oh, I never told you guys this story about speaking of apple cider. Is my dad tried to? So my dad is now like a beer brewer. He brews beer in the garage because in Minnesota, what else are you gonna do during the winter, right? So he brews beer in the garage, and he tried to do apple cider one time, and it tasted more like apple cider vinegar than actual apple cider
Oh,
for the first year. Ugh, it was disgusting. But then after a while, he eventually perfected it, and it actually wasn't half bad. But then he had a problem where he was trying to make root beer, and somehow it fermented, and he handed my sister a root beer that had been fermented, and she was quite young.
oh
So you
God.
guys know my dad, so
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'll tell you though. See, all of that seems like such a hassle to me. Like, I mean, to me, it's worth the cost of just driving to the liquor store, finding what you want, and drinking it. I don't know about
Absolutely.
brewing my own stuff or anything like that. I don't think I could ever get it to the way that I want to. Like, I'm not a craft beer person either. I
It
can't.
smells so bad. Like my
Oh, I
mom made
bet.
him go do it in the garage. He was doing it in the house to start with because he thought the garage was too cold. But then my mom made him go out in the garage because it stunk the entire house up.
Oh, well, that is fabulous. Well done. Well, not a whole lot going on here other than pool days and what else did we do? Oh, I
they
started
fix your
watching.
pool? They
Oh
fix your
yeah,
pool?
I forgot to mention that. So
Yeah,
the landlord drove in from North Carolina, and he was here to supervise the pool fixing thing. But the pool is essentially brand new. And it only took a day. Like they were here from about 7:30 in the morning until about 7 at night, just finalizing everything. And then we filled the pool up that night. And they're like, yeah, it'll take a couple days. Just like woke me up next morning. She's like, the pool's going to overflow. So I'm like running downstairs as the hose was on all night. I'm like, oh my God. But it's been raining here nonstop. So it's like the pool is like, from the top. So I made the kids go in there and jump in there a bunch of times and splash everywhere today. So we'll see how that goes. So I was going to say, I started watching this show. Have you guys, do you guys still have subscriptions to Apple? What is it? Apple Plus? You guys watch any shows on there? That's where like Ted Lasso was and all that.
Yeah, I watched Ted Lasso on Apple Plus, and I started watching a golf show on there too. But besides that, I haven't seen much.
Now you're stealing my thunder, Michael. I've started watching this show called Stick with Owen Wilson. He's like this ex-golfer. It's hilarious. I love it. And I'm like, I think it's from like the makers of Ted Lasso or whatever. So like that's my new thing. Like it's like 30-minute shows essentially. So like I've been binging that. All up to date on that. So that's essentially what's been going on here.
Yeah, that's pretty good show, dude. I watched a couple episodes. I haven't seen a ton of it. But I like Owen Wilson's comedy. I find him rather amusing, and I thought that was pretty good. Hey, one more thing before we move on, Jay. I had a little story from the river I wanted to share with you fellas. It was kind of funny. So we're floating down the river, and we had some rain up here, so the water was moving pretty good. There wasn't a lot of paddling that had to go on necessarily, but we decided here and there to like take a stop and get in the water, right? Because it was nice. It was hot out. It was like 90-something degrees. So we pull off, and we're always looking for people with shotguns, because you're pulling off into someone's, backyard that pretty much goes up to the river at some point. So we're looking. We all get out. We grab our beverage. We float out into the water a little bit, and all of a sudden we turn. We see something moving in the woods. We're like, oh crap! What's going on? A full-grown cow is wandering down to the river, and it's like taking a drink of water. And I'm like, from the last, is this like a guard cow? Is he like reporting? Is he going to report back to his owner? Are we going to get shot? Because then down the river, we saw a shotgun shell was floating down the river. Like, oh, Nikes, something bad's going to happen. So we're like, and then two cows, and then a third cow, and the cows just keep coming down the river. I'm like, I did not realize that this was kind of like a fence for them. Apparently they used the river as a fence. Very interesting, right?
Oh yeah. And like my roommate for my last 2 years of college was from Luray. Actually, my last 3 years of college was from Luray, Virginia, which was like 40 minutes, half an hour south of Shenandoah. And they had the same thing. Like they lived on a farm, all the cows, they would graze down by the river, all that stuff. There was like, it's like free range. So they don't do anything like that, but that's really cool. So it looks like Mike's picture is frozen. So I'm going to remove him from the screen, John, temporarily. Mike, get that figured out and come back, like reset something if you can hear me. But John, so what else was I going to do? Oh, so I think I'm about to do another 3-day water fast.
Okay.
I'm about to do it because last time I lost about 9 pounds. And it's one of these things.
You kept it off?
All but like a pound or two. But that also, but that like pound or two was from like, we went to Legoland. I like was off because I make all my food and stuff like this. And I meal prep and all that crap. So it's like, I don't eat out, but we've been eating out a lot. We've had birthdays and all this other stuff. So I think Mike's back. Oh, good. Hi, Mike. Good to see you. Hi.
I'm not sure. Like I heard a buzzy noise, and then all of a sudden, everything went black. It was kind of like passing out. I think
Oh,
would be.
you're all set. You're back.
We heard your
Well,
story about the cows.
Yeah.
That all worked. We just couldn't see. We just couldn't see.
You missed my facial expressions, but that's okay.
I know. That's what I was hoping for. The reaction of seeing cows out of nowhere and shotgun shells slowing down. How the two are related, I'm not too sure.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was just telling John, I don't know if you heard, I'm about to within the next week, I'm gonna do another 3-day water fast. Might turn into a 5-day thing. What I'm starting to realize is a lot of this stuff with what it puts in your body, it's like addictive. So you like kind of get addicted to these things, especially with the results and all of that stuff. But Jess and I are actually this week, we're getting blood work done I mean, it's not cheap, but we decided that we wanted to find out what our bodies are deficient in, because we take a lot of vitamins, a lot of stuff, and we don't know if we're taking too much of something or we're not taking enough of something. And we're getting to the age where we want to make sure that we do all of this correctly. So we're getting blood work done where they're taking like 10 to 12 vials of blood. It's all done through like Quest Diagnostics and stuff like this. And it's like a third-party company that we researched. And this one test that we're doing is a test that you guys are familiar with Dana White, UFC president, and all of that stuff. There's this guy, Gary Brecka, that comes on, and he's like this health guru, talks about doing the cold plunge, all this. But he used to be a mortician expert that worked for insurance companies. And these life insurance companies hire these guys, and based on your blood work, because insurance companies don't lose money. That's why they're in business, right? So they're in business not to give money back. So they hire these experts who can pinpoint to the week of your expected death based on what your blood work and everything is and what your body's deficient in and how you're going to correct that. Well, Dana White took this test and found out he essentially had like 9 years left to live if he didn't change things about his life. Like, blah, blah, blah. And now he's as healthy as ever been. He found out he was deficient in very important things, or he was I don't know if he was, but you're like pre-diabetic or whatever it is. So yeah, we're getting all this blood work done over the next 2 weeks to find out essentially what we have to do to remain healthy and remain alive, essentially. And to not take 20 vitamins a day.
Well, I had a friend who did that as well, and he goes back and gets his levels checked and things, and he's lost a lot of weight just by making sure that he has everything that he's older than we are. I think he's in his early to mid 50s, but he's losing weight just by making sure that everything is on the right path and everything's, working out right. So we may have to change the name of the show, Jason.
No. See, I'm hoping that if I took that test, it would come back that I'm deficient in saturated fats and alcohol, and then I can just make sure that I supply that to my body.
I mean, let's just be real. There's certain things I'm not willing to give up. I'm not willing to give up alcohol. I don't drink like a fish or anything like that. I can if you want me to, and I can keep up with anybody, but I don't need to. Like, it's just not. And a lot of that's like not going out, not all that stuff. So that's it. That's what's going on in my world. I do need to go over our predictions from this last week for the Orioles. I am victorious with my prediction of the O's going 3-4 out of those 2 series. John was very close to his. Mike was even closer to his prediction. John said 5-2. If the Orioles didn't blow the lead today, and if they wouldn't have blown the 8-0 lead the other day, John would have been just fine. If the Orioles wouldn't have blown the 2-1 today, which they certainly did, then Mike would have had his 4-3 prediction. But now to the punishments, my friends. I was going to do one thing, but I'm not going to do it. I was going to make one of you do one thing and the other do the other. I'm going to make you both do the same thing. So this week, and I'll only make you do it through up to the Jeopardy. You only have to do this up to the Jeopardy, segment. So all the way through the Orioles. After every time you are done speaking, okay, You have to compliment me in whatever creative way you would like. So it's the Jason show tonight. It's going to be fabulous. All right.
Oh well, at least I don't have to like turn around and try to remember the things.
Oh no,
that
that's
I
what you're gonna do.
researched.
So what I was gonna make you do was I was gonna make you turn and face the wall and do the show.
Oh, I can't. I couldn't do that because all
I
my
know.
stuff
So
on
I
my
started
TV on my
thinking,
computer screen.
I'm like, he's gonna be away from the computer. The wire's gonna be hung over his head. It's just gonna be a mess. So we'll do this. It'll be more fun for me at least.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk O's, fellas. So the O's again, they were over the last 2 series, 3 and 4. As I said, going into these 2 series, that's okay. 3 and 4 is okay. We're right there. I mean, it's not ideal considering 2 of the games they could have very easily won. Probably should have won. Yesterday's game, I think they lost 9-0 or something. Almost got no hit. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world yet. Couple things differently, and then we're in a completely different situation. But the injury bug keeps sneaking up on them, though, guys. Mike, it looks like Westberg might be out at least next few days. Maverick Hanley, I mean, if that's a concussion situation, I don't know what they're calling it, but if it is and he has to go in there, here's the question though. What do they do? And I mean, I hate to say it, but
Do it.
I thought I don't know if that's such a so I was thinking I thought John was going to bring it up, so I was going to shoot him down. But now that Maverick Hanley's hurt, I'm not so sure they don't bring up Samuel Basayo. Because at this point, Gary Sanchez can't beat anyone up there. Why rush anyone up unless they sign somebody or bring somebody up just to back up? I can see why they don't want to bring him up, Mike, because they don't want to. If he's not going to play, there's absolutely no reason why he's going to be here. But I say bring him up and let him force their hand to play every day.
I mean, I think it's an interesting concept because he's kind of thrust into it, so it's not planned. Sometimes I think that can be better with a lot less pressure than if that, you remember like call up day for Matt Wieters. I remember how big a deal that was, or obviously for Jackson Holiday or whoever, any of those big name guys who they have the world, Adley had that big day. The expectations are mounting. You can kind of feel the pressure that mounts with that expectation. This would just be like, hey, we don't have a catcher. You're the next guy up. Let's do it. And it's less of that urgency in that way. Obviously, there's urgency in the fact that we're kind of getting thin in the catching area. But other than that, like you said, Jason, my biggest takeaway from this week, besides the fact that you said it's not a big deal to go 3 and 4. The problem is you've already dug yourself such a giant hole in the season that you got to win the games you can win at this point, not just some of the games. So that's the biggest issue. But the injury bug is the biggest issue coming out of this with Adley. Obviously, you said Westberg. Man, he's been injury prone. Is that a question that's going to start coming up? Is this a career thing, or is this just happened to be a couple bad stints, different things that are ailments for him? John, tell me what your thoughts are, taken away from the Rays and the Yankees series. Jason, the Almighty, thank you for that.
God bless you.
So I'm just having been watching them. I went to 2 games last week, and then watching and listening to today's game and stuff over the weekend. I think it's looking like it's a bullpen. It's going to become a bullpen issue. We sent Cano down, but they said he's more so going down just because they needed the slot because of the amount of innings that they've worked. But he hasn't been the all-star Cano that we've had. He seems to have a location issue. And, like last night he pitched last night or the night before, he was missing everything high. And a guy like Judge, you can't miss high, and that seems to be his issues. And I think that's going to be where we're going to have to go and figure out, okay, what are we going to do? Because Eflin has been a disaster the last 2 starts. But otherwise, Kramer pitched well today. We had decent starting pitching. I mean, we were up 8-0 on Wednesday, and our bullpen just couldn't close the deal. And that, if we're gonna win, if we're gonna even think about getting to October and getting a comeback, our bullpen has to get better, and we have to be able to close the games out because 8-0 leads. That's like that's what happens to us in high school, where you got two pitchers, they're all gone, and they're playing in the outfield, and you bring in Jason and Mike, who are at the bottom of the pitching rotation. Jason, though, what was a mighty handsome pitcher when he was playing.
Yes. I pitched, I think. Let's see. I pitched the very first game freshman year in JV, and I never pitched again. That was the end of that. Mike, however, he hung around for a few years. he did it. It was fine. Mike, you did wonderful. You did great. Okay. So okay, back to just a couple things. The reason why I was okay with 3 and 4 was because you were playing perhaps besides Detroit, the hottest team in the American League, which was Tampa at the time. And you're playing the first place Yankees. Now the Yankees weren't that they were struggling a little bit, but whenever you're playing the top two teams in your division, I mean, if you can go 500, great. Well, you can't go 500 because it's 7 games. So you just happen to miss out. So all I'm saying is, in my eyes, the sky's not falling yet. You have Texas coming up. Texas is middle of the road. They're starting to play better than they were initially, but they're beaten up in some areas too. And then Tampa again, and then Texas again. So this next stretch again should be, I mean, could be a way to make up a couple games or whatnot. But you're right, Mike. I mean, you're 10 game or now 11 games below 500. At some point, you need to go on a little bit of a run where you're winning 2 or 3 more than you're losing altogether. But I do think just to address your Westberg thing, it's so funny to think about it though. These aren't the type of injuries, but besides, I'm not sure what was up with the back injury thing, or if that was something that he's ever had in his past. But like getting hit on the wrist, okay, you can't do anything about that. You broke your hand, right? Sliding into second, jamming your finger, okay, can't really do anything about that. Like those are two situations where I'm like, okay, they're not injury prone-ish. It just sucks. These aren't like if this guy had like chronic hamstring issues, or what's his name, Royce Lewis in Minnesota, who never stays on the field, like injuries like that. Now you can use the term, I think, injury prone a little more. But I want to address the Samuel Basayo thing more, because I don't know. I haven't really read anything. And John, I'll yield to you here on this one, because I know you were talking about bringing him up and getting rid of Gary Sanchez back when you thought there was this catcher jam. Well, now we fast forward a month, we no longer have a jam at catcher. And I mean, I don't know. Is this the right move? Would it be the right move to bring him up? Or, I mean, for the record, I'm saying they should not bring him up unless he is going to play damn near every day. That's my thought. I'll let you go.
Well, that's what I believe that's what Mansolino said, or I heard it from somebody. They said, we're not bringing Basayo up unless he can play every day. And I think that's what's going to have to happen. That's where I think they're going to have to figure out, okay, what are we doing with Mayo? What are we doing with Mountcastle? Rushman, is he going to stay as a catcher, or is he going to go to first base? What are we going to do? Because I think that's going to kind of be, what that's going to be was blocking him from playing every day is going to be the fact that Rushman's been, I mean, he'll be out to they said after the All-Star break was what I had heard on Adley's injury. But, between now and then, if let's say we do bring Basayo up and he's catching every single day, and then maybe taking Sunday off, and he's hitting, what's successful for him? What if he's hitting in the 270s? What if he's, just pounding the ball? What do we do then? Is that when we start, okay, who wants Mountcastle? Who will give us, a AA, AAA pitcher who may be ready for the big leagues next year for Mountcastle? What are we going to do at that point? Because Adley then, or Basayo may go to first. I don't know, but it's going to be then, okay, what do we do with Basayo? What do we do with Mountcastle? What do we do with Rushman? What do we do with Mayo? And then, we're kind of in a pickle. But again, we don't know what injuries. We don't know how severe Adley's is. It doesn't seem bad, but who knows what's going on. But yeah, I mean, Jason was the all-star of that 8th grade class at St. Paul Kingsville, and you and Dan Rush and Andy Chalk and all those guys caused a lot of trouble.
Well,
But
I appreciate that, John.
But Jason was always had the upper hand and was always trying to rein in and keep it in a Christ-like manner.
John, I appreciate it, but I'm going to need you to do better. I'm going to need you to do better. All right. So, Michael, here's the issue with what John said. And I'm sorry, John, I don't mean to throw you under the bus. I don't think the Orioles have decided what they are yet and what they want to do. Because if you look at their next few series, again, you have Texas and Tampa. Then the Mets are in there. Mets are a good team. But then you have Miami. You have Colorado. And here's again, and then Tampa for the third time, and then Cleveland. So this is where I'm afraid you're going to have this false sense of hope. And the trade deadline, I mean, by the time the trade deadline comes, this team could be 20 games below 500, or they could be right exactly where they are now. So I don't think they have to rush and make any decisions on Mountcastle, who's, God knows, he might be out until September anyway. And then as far as, I guess the idea would be, I don't think you have anything to lose unless they're trying to play the Rookie of the Year game, where if Basayo comes in next year and he wins Rookie of the Year, they get the draft pick. And I could definitely see that being the case.
Yeah, I mean, you took my words. I basically was just going to say that. I said, John, why? What are we going for right now? Why not play Basayo? Why can't? So if Adley's hurt, right? Why not play him most days and have Gary Sanchez stay in the role as backup catcher? I don't see any reason, even if it's only until Adley gets healthy again, unless you don't want to start the guy's clock or however that works, the Rookie of the Year stuff like Jason's saying. That's the only argument I could see against it. This team is not going anywhere fast. They're not going to be a World Series contender. They have an outside chance to make the playoffs because they're probably the 6th or 7th best team in the American League. They just haven't been playing like it, maybe. That's possibly what you're looking at as a ceiling. So if it's me, I want to see what I have in Basayo. Does that allow me to deal a Rutschman, or does that allow me to deal another piece because I know this guy is what we think he is? Because we've seen that prospects can sometimes just be that, prospects. They do not turn in, all of them do not turn into Major League Baseball ready players. And so to see that earlier and to know what's going on gives you more of a assuredness about what you're doing, because we have trouble making decisions. We have trouble figuring out when to pull the trigger. And more times than not, we've made some mistakes when it comes to this part of kind of the general manager's role. So I would love to see Basayo get an opportunity. Again, not thrust into a situation where there's a lot of buildup around it, and maybe just let him play. He's playing well. Let him just play. And Jason, that sweatshirt makes your head look almost normal. So I love that about it.
Wow, that was brutal. That was rude. Let me tell you, this is brand new. And this is like, it's a t-shirt sweatshirt. It's what I wear all the time anyway. I don't leave the house half the time. But anyway, yeah, it's so again, to me, it comes down to them making, they can't make a decision on whether they're trying to go for it or whether they're not. And they don't want to lose the clubhouse. So you don't want to just give up and start selling guys off. But here's the issue too. The pitching staff is somewhere in between. The starting staff is somewhere in between the last few performances of the last couple series, Rogers, Eflin, and blah, 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 and what they got from Minnesota, what they got from Seattle and Chicago when they went on that run. They're somewhere in between there. They're not as good as they played against Chicago and Seattle, and they're not as bad as they play Eflin pitched and Rogers pitched. They're somewhere in between. And that in between isn't going to get it done. And they don't have the pieces to go out and get all the starting pitchers that they need to make any sort of run. And if they did have those pieces, they don't have enough offense to give those pieces up yet. So they really put themselves in a bind so far. So, I mean, what Laureano's giving you right now is great and everything like that. I mean, he might be, if we're being honest, he might be one of the more lucrative trade pieces for teams, him and O'Hearn and guys like that, if that's the direction they're looking to go. But again, I do want to make it very clear that I don't think this team is very far off. I think, like Mike said, they might right now they might be the 6th or 7th best team in the American League. A couple moves here and there, and all of a sudden they're the 2nd to 4th best team in the American League or all of baseball. So they just to me, I really can't put my finger on exactly what's going on. I mean, like today's game, a couple of things go a different way. They hit better instead of stranding guys. But then the Yankees the other night, they stranded guys left and right. So I don't know. I don't think either team is all that great. And I don't think the Yankees, as are constructed right now, are a World Series team. I don't know. I mean, I guess just by default, I'd say Detroit. Mike and I did this last week, John. We said, gun to your head, you have to pick a World Series team right now. 2 teams, one in the American League, one in the National League. Who do you pick?
I think Detroit in the American League. I think that pitching staff is just built for October. And then internationally, I don't know. Like, it's just kind of, I don't know. What did you guys say? I don't remember.
I said the Dodgers, John, and I think Jason picked the Cubs.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Dodgers. I mean, they got just enough pitching and just enough hitting, I think, to be better than the rest of them. So I could see the Tigers and the Dodgers, and then the Tigers, I think, just have too much starting pitching to end in a 4-game series. You're going to get at least 2 starts out of Skubal, and you're hoping to win both of those, and then piecing together 2 others. So right now, I would go with the Tigers and the Dodgers, with the Tigers winning.
Jason, if I can just add something really quick.
Oh, and Jason, that TV is hung magnificently. It looks, the edges are perfect, and it's not even leaning one way or the other.
Nice. Well done.
Gosh. Yeah, back to the catching issue. I saw that the Braves had released Brian McCann. I don't know if you guys saw that recently. And I know that there was a little bit of buzz right away, but I saw that he signed, I think, with the Arizona Diamondbacks with AAA. He left AAA to sign with Arizona. So that's no longer an option, if you were even thinking about that as an option.
I mean, thank God, because that's not at all. I mean, look, they're not going to go trade for a catcher. That I'm almost positive. And if they do trade, they're going to do the thing I don't want them to do, which would be a McCann type who's going to play second fiddle to Gary Sanchez. And I'm all for Gary Sanchez to be your backup catcher, not to be your everyday catcher. And it depends. I mean, this injury that Adley has, I mean, this could be something that keeps him out well after the All-Star break, and it could linger the rest of the year. So to me, I mean, yeah, the picks are great and all, but prospects in baseball aren't like prospects in the NFL. Draft picks aren't the same. And that brings me to one other thing that to close this out. I've been on a couple of these forums about talking about the Orioles and whatnot lately, and somebody got on today and said, look at where we are and how we handle our prospects compared to the Cincinnati Reds. And this guy tried to compare the Reds promoting Chase Burns, the number 2 pick in the draft last year, to us picking the number 22nd pick, Vance Honeycutt. And he did stats and where they were. And I was like, oh, is this really happening? I'm just like, we are comparing apples and oranges, Mike. To me, I'm like, I can't believe I'm having this conversation.
Yeah, I saw that. He said Vance Honeycutt is batting 190 and whatever, wherever he is in the Orioles organization. I'm like, what are we talking about? By the way, your AirPods are so shiny and white, Jason. They really are.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right. Well, again, as I say every time, we could keep talking about the O's, and it's only going to be a matter of time before we just keep repeating ourselves, which we are, by the way. Mike, did you have a quick little reminder for everyone just to where they could find us?
Yeah, absolutely. Check in with us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Red Circle, wherever you get your podcast. Give us a like and a follow at Dad Bod's Crab Cakes and Sports. Follow us on our Facebook page. Hit us up on Twitter. Watch us on Facebook Live. We're everywhere you want us to be and more. So check us out. Give us a like and a follow. John, you were going to
Fabulous.
say something before I went a little tangent there.
Well, I was just saying is how long, guys, before we say, you know what, we're going to cut the O segment down to about 5 minutes about wait till next year, and then we start looking at football season. That's my thing.
Right, but this is like therapy. Like, I mean, because everyone had like such high expectations. Like this wasn't supposed to happen. And but if you talk to people like that who I respect a lot, like Jimmy Isfording, when he comes on and talks to us, like he predicted this. He said, look, I didn't like it from the get-go. And I have other friends that I follow too that feel the same way. And people in the business. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I was just so tired. Actually, I'll tell you exactly what it was. I was so upset after the football season last year and so pissed off, worn out, long fantasy season, all this stuff. And I was just orange colored glasses all the way. So at least that's what I think. See, this is therapy, John. That's what we're doing this segment for.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Jason, I could be your life coach as well if you need help. Jim has called me daily for help and for guidance. You know, when his dog wants to go outside again, calm down, Jim. Just take the dog out. The dog always loves you. The Cleveland Browns never will. So you might want to come back to the Ravens.
Oh, I love it. Love it. All right.
So,
All right, John. You are the
So-
host this week of America's greatest game show. I'll let you take over. Copyright infringement, and then it's John's idea, guys.
I got that off a free non-copyright site. So if they have a problem, then go with them. Anyway,
It doesn't sound anything like any game show I've ever heard. So I don't even know what you're talking about.
well, that's good. So we're gonna play America's favorite trivia game, Dad Bodge Jeopardy, and I'm your host. Tonight we have 3 categories, and I was asking the guys before to make sure you could answer some of these, and I decided against that. So I have 3 categories tonight. One is cameos, sports stars who appeared in movies. Number 2 is number change, athletes who changed their numbers. And then 3, nicknames and notoriety. Nicknames and notoriety. So, Jason, because you won, or no, Mike, no, who won last time? Jason
Mike won
did.
last time.
Mike
Well,
won
Mike
last
won. Mike won with negative points. He had less.
Okay. He was less bad. So let's hope it's better this week. All right. So, Mike, do you need me to go over the categories again? for
No,
you?
it's let's do number change for 100.
Number change for 100. This Florida State star wore 21 throughout his NFL career before playing with
Mike.
a 37.
Deion Sanders.
That is correct. Jason, are you keeping score?
I got it.
Okay. All right.
Number change for 500, Alex.
This Yankees Hall of Famer started his career wearing number 6 before being sent back to the minor leagues and coming back wearing number 7.
Jason.
Mike.
Yes, Jason.
Oh, crap. I'm going to screw this up, aren't I? Is it Mickey Mantle?
Yes.
Okay. I had
Yes,
second
Jason.
thoughts. I was like, I knew it. I was.
Go with your gut, Jason. Always. That's the life hack for the day. Jim, if you're listening, always go with your gut. Always.
Oh my goodness! All right, we can clean this one up for 1,000.
That sounds like a very dad bod thing to say.
Yes, and it's a great life hack as well. Okay, so this Hall of Fame quarterback wore 16 before he finished his career wearing number 19.
I think I know what it is. Oh, I don't wanna
Well,
guess.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Can I guess?
Yeah, Jason.
Was it Joe Montana?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn it!
Because Len
I was thinking
Dawson.
it too, Jason.
because Len Dawson had 16
Right.
retired on the Chiefs. So, Jason, we have cameos or nicknames and notoriety.
Oh man. Wait, was this? I thought we were doing the Mighty Ducks.
No, I decided against it.
Man.
Quack.
Or we
All
could
right.
do another.
Quack.
We could do another Mighty Ducks category. I still have
Oh
that
my
one pulled
gosh.
up too.
All right, let's do. What was it? Cameos and what?
Cameos, nicknames, and notoriety.
Let's do nicknames and notoriety for 100.
Okay. Known as the refrigerator, this NFL defensive lineman turned fullback
Jason.
lives
Mike.
forever with Marty McFly in
Jason.
1985. Yes,
Hi.
Jason. Yes.
William Refrigerator Perry.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right.
Jason.
I'll do it for 500. It's fine.
500. Nicknamed the Minister of Defense, this Baptist minister. Yes, Mike.
Reggie White.
Yes.
Oh man. All tied up, Mike. It's 600.
Nicknames for $1 million.
Nicknamed the Hick from French Lick.
Jason.
Mike.
Yes.
Jason.
Yes,
Larry
Jason.
Bird.
Yes.
Fooey.
No, it's not Fooey. It's Larry. Larry is clear, according to Space Jam.
Oh,
All right,
speaking
cameo-
of the devil.
Cameos and what's the other thing? And
That's it. Cameos. That's the last
100,
one.
please.
Cameos. Okay. In the 1996 movie Space Jam, this former Dunbar star had his talent taken by aliens and was just, quote unquote, another short guy.
Jason.
Mike.
Mug-
Jason. Absolutely. So, Jason,
I'll
you're
do
up by 100.
So the score right now, just so we know, is 1,700 to 600.
Much better than last week.
I
That's
know all
long
the answers
confidence.
this week. That makes me feel better. I'm just slow. I think it's the
I'm just
sunburn
slow.
on my shoulders.
Yeah,
You can't
possibly.
lift-
Can't hit the button.
It couldn't be my
You
mental
got-
processor.
You got sunburn
Yeah.
on your vocal cords too, Mike?
No, those are real.
Okay. Jason, for
500.
500.
Yes.
In the 1980 hit Airplane, this NBA Hall of Fame center was the co-pilot on the
Jason.
dysfunctional airplane. Yes.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes, that is correct. And so, would you like to take the last one for 1,000?
Yes, I would.
Okay. This former Mighty Ducks star appears in the 1996 film D3, The Mighty Ducks, as a guest announcer in the JV versus Varsity Showdown.
Say that question again.
This former Mighty Ducks star appears in the 1996 film D3, The Mighty Ducks, as a guest announcer in the JV versus Varsity Showdown.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, crap. I think. Did he play for the Ducks?
I saw your hand go up, Jason. Is that
No.
Jason?
No.
No. Okay.
5, 4.
4, 3, 2, 1.
It's
Paul
not-
Correa.
that's the name I couldn't remember. I almost said Luke Robitaille.
Yeah, no, Luke Robitaille played for the Kings.
All right.
He didn't play for the Ducks.
All right.
So, going into Final Jeopardy, did we actually have points this time?
We do. Jason has 2,200 to Mike's 600.
All right. So, our Final Jeopardy question category is 4 leagues, 1 legend. 4 leagues, 1 legend.
4 leagues, 1 legend. Okay, good.
Yes. So, do you gentlemen have your wagers?
I do.
Yes,
Do we
sir.
have to tell you?
Nope. Okay. Here's the clue. This St. Paul, Minnesota native starred for his hometown Gophers before being drafted in the MLB, NBA, ABA, and NFL drafts, despite never playing a down of football. You gentlemen, did you know this one, Jason?
I think so.
I figured you might, Jason. Mike, did you know the answer?
I have 2 guesses, so one of them is going to be wrong.
Oh, one of them is going to be right, though. As your life coach, Mike, you always have to think of the positive. You got a 50-50 shot of being right. It's like the glass half full. You know?
All right. So who goes first? Is
So,
it
Mike, you're trailing. Mike, you're trailing. So, you go.
You risk it all, Mike.
I always risk it all. It doesn't really matter. It's fake money.
Well done.
It's like whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter, right?
That's right.
All right, Mike. So who did you have?
I picked.
Let me see. You're supposed to write it down. Did you write it down?
Oh yeah.
We got to see your points. Joe Mauer is incorrect. Joe Mauer wasn't even born when the ABA was around.
Yeah. I think I got it.
Yeah, no.
I
Joe
risked.
Mauer's not.
I risked 900. 900.
Okay. Yes.
And that's my answer.
Dave Winfield. That is the correct answer.
Good job.
Good job, Jason.
Yeah.
Both of my guesses were wrong. If it makes you feel any better.
What was your other guess?
Tom Glavine was my other guess.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, no. Tom Glavine is from Canada, isn't he?
No.
I believe know. Tom. He was a hockey player. I know.
That would make sense then.
He was good at pitching, also.
Do you want to just go over or do you want to save your Mighty Ducks another time, or do you want to do that?
I can do it now. Yeah, no, I can do it now. Tom Glavine was from Massachusetts. He played hockey. He played hockey. The Concord, Mass, and I don't know if he played hockey. Okay, so here are my Mighty Ducks. My Mighty Ducks ones. I wore my Mighty Ducks jersey tonight because I was trying to decide: do I go with these questions or do I go with the Mighty Ducks questions? So. Here's the Mighty Ducks questions. There's 3 of them. In the original Mighty Ducks movie, Gordon Bombay is forced to coach youth hockey after getting arrested for this offense.
DUI.
Absolutely.
Do you know that, Mike? You did. Good. Mike, you know you have to speak. No,
yeah. Everybody's listening to this on.
I'm a man of mystery.
On the drive to work. Okay. So the second question that I had was in D2, the Mighty Ducks, Dean Portman and Fulton Reed were known as
the Bash Brothers.
Yes.
Did you know that, Mike?
Yes.
He did. He was saying it.
I was saying Bash Brothers, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay. Okay, and in D3, the Mighty Ducks, the Ducks played for Eden Hall Academy, where they clash with the varsity team named this.
Oh, man. I knew you were going to ask it as soon as you started saying it. Eden Warriors.
Yes.
That's
very good.
That's good. I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Man, yeah, my brother and I used to be Mighty Duck nerds growing up.
Oh, I wanted to play hockey forever, and it was just too expensive and not enough sheets of ice in Baltimore. Plus, I was better at baseball, so But good job, guys. That was good, Jason. You got. Yeah. I think you got all but what 2 right.
Yeah, I mean the one that I would have got right anyway. I just cowered out and didn't say Joe Montana, even though I knew the answer. Mike was in the same boat though.
I knew that one as well.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Bring the Homer hat back. That's the way to roll.
I don't want to. I'm ashamed. Okay. So, so the next segment I had, guys, I mean, I don't know how much we really need to do this. This is really just Kevin Allstriker's had a lot of podcasts here recently on Locked on Ravens, just updating everyone, and it's mainly a little bit about the mini camps, also all the flack that Lamar is getting nationwide, like with the same old guys. What's this one guy's name? Apparently he played in the NFL. Emmanuel Acho, he played in the NFL. Okay. Did you not hear how well I just did in trivia? If I don't know who you are, you're not good. So you should probably keep your mouth shut. Okay. So this guy keeps throwing all the blame and everything on Lamar and all this nonsense. And then LaShawn McCoy apparently stepped in and defended him with him and who's the wide receiver that played in Green Bay with Jones. I can't remember his first name.
No, Donald Driver.
No, his last name's Jones, I think, isn't it? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But these two clowns. I guess what I'm getting at is like I mean it's so overplayed. This whole everything is Lamar's fault type thing, and for me, quite frankly, I'm really just tired of you hearing it, Mike. It just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
There's just nothing to talk about. I just don't know what you want me to say about Lamar anymore. Like, what does the guy got to prove? He's got MVP trophies. He plays on a great team. They made some mistakes at the wrong time. Like, it's just a matter of it all coming together to win a Super Bowl. There are a lot of great players who never won a Super Bowl. Just saying. I mean, I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want the guy to do. What he had 40 touchdowns and 4 interceptions or something last year. I mean, these are numbers that the world has never seen before. Just give me a break. It's just stupid.
Yeah, and look, football more than anything is a huge team game. You can't have a quarterback without an offensive line. You can't have wide receivers catching the ball without offensive line and without a quarterback throwing to them, like and the guys blocking for you. There's a whole situation here. So it's not just on one guy. It's not on Mark Andrews for dropping the ball at the end like that. It's not on Lamar for throwing the interception. It's on the whole team. Like Lamar brought that team back. He outplayed I'm talking about the Buffalo game in particular now, but he outplayed Josh Allen from beginning to the end. Josh Allen just didn't turn the ball over. And it's like you want to blame somebody. You want to say it's on Lamar. Okay, fine. He hasn't won the – so all of a sudden they win the Super Bowl this year. Now because he's already a Hall of Famer in my mind. Yes.
That's what I'm going to say to you. Is Trent Dilfer a Hall of Famer?
No.
Is Brad Johnson a Hall of Famer?
No.
Okay, they've won Super Bowls, so I don't see the correlation necessarily every single time. Now, obviously, when you have a guy at this level, you're always asking. Yes, Dan Marino for his entire career, is he ever going to win a Super Bowl? It just didn't happen. John Elway, we were thinking it might not ever happen, and then finally he got on the right team. Jason, you make a great point. Yes, the quarterback sees all the criticism and all the glory. They call the plays. They have an impact every snap because they're touching the ball on offense, but they can't do it by themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, John, because, again, I say again, he is already a Hall of Famer. Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowls. I don't think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Numbers alone, he's not. Some may argue he might be he might get in. Okay, fine. If that's got to be somebody's agenda, I get it. But it's not, when I think Hall of Famer, I think it's not even a question. It's John Elway. It's Peyton Manning. It's Tom Brady. It's Warren Moon. It's guys like I mean, it's even Ben Roethlisberger more than likely. Like guys like this, Aaron Rodgers. There's another guy. You don't even have to think about it. They just roll off your tongue. To me, Lamar Jackson is that guy. So what happens though? All of a sudden they win a Super Bowl and Emmanuel Acho or Ocho or whatever the hell the guy's name is, and this wide receiver that only did well because Aaron Rodgers threw him the ball. All of a sudden, these guys, these talking heads, are going to say he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame now, and he is the best quarterback in the NFL right now, or best athlete, whatever you want to call it, because he won a Super Bowl. Is that what it's going to take?
I guess these guys are just. I mean, you look at the way that Lamar has changed the way the game is played. Even though he's not incredibly much older than Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams and Justin Fields and these sorts of guys. But look at how Lamar has changed the game. The way that the teams now look at quarterbacks is not the way that they looked at quarterbacks in '98 when Leaf and Peyton Manning got drafted. Now they're actually looking at guys who, you know what, they are the best athlete on the field. They can throw. Look at Lamar last year. How many mistakes did Lamar make during the regular season? How many of his interceptions were actually Lamar problems and not receivers? 0. None of his interceptions were Lamar problems. They were all receiver issues. Guys dropping the ball. You know, Justice Hill taking steps before he catches the ball, and then the Steelers guy taken away from him. So they got to say, here's the bar. This is when, you know, this is Lamar has to do to be a Hall of Famer. If it's the Super Bowl, then just shut up. And he wins the Super Bowl, then you guys all better just shut up, leave the guy alone, let him keep playing, let him keep putting up these huge numbers. And you know what? He'll be wearing the gold jacket. I want to see, you know, Ray Lewis, John Ogden, Ed Reed, Suggs all there with him. All the you know, the Ravens draft picks who have gotten that gold jacket. And Lamar, you know, arguably is the greatest athlete to ever play the quarterback position ever.
Yeah, and look, guys. I mean, it's not many guys have won 3 MVPs. There's only a handful of guys that have done that. And I mean, he should have done it this year. He might as well do it next year. Who knows? To me, he's not interested in the MVP awards. I honestly believe that he is not. His teammates, or they said it again. Kevin said it today. His teammates might care that he's not the MVP because to me it was preposterous, but again, that's a whole different conversation. So I didn't mean for it to go off on a tangent like this. It's just stuff that I keep reading. I'm like, when is this going to end? It's stupid and pointless. And it's just, you're just looking for something to bitch about during the off season. But what I wanted to talk about was the team in general. The minicamp, everything seems like everything came off unscathed. I know Lamar wasn't there. Like, I mean, it's not that like for most of it before, only there for what's going to be mandatory, right? So he was, pardon me, this was mandatory minicamp, right? So he was there for that. So we kind of talked about this before, Mike. I mean, Kevin is kind of on the fence. Kevin Allstriker is. He had a guest on the other day that he doesn't think that the Ravens are done making moves. What do you think, Mike? Do you think they're done? They're all set, or do you still think there's a move or two left to, without barring any injuries at this point, any moves as of right now? You think?
Just how the organization operates, I would never say they're done. They always look for, they turn over the stones, like they say. They look for all the potential upgrades anywhere in their roster. And even John Harbaugh mentioned that in the press conferences, that he hopes Eric is continuing to turn over stones and look for the best upgrades. Even if you have a nominal player that's on the practice squad or the last guy on the roster, if you can upgrade in any way, you still try to do that. Is there a specific area of need that I think they need a major upgrade? I don't think so. I think most of the roster is set. Obviously, like you said, Jason, barring an injury. And to be cautious, and I've said this a couple times, you might not want to spend that ahead of time until you know where your injuries might be so you can plug that hole in the correct way. If you go out there now and start trying to plug holes with too big of a price tag, then you're going to end up strapping yourself in the future or during the season and not have the flexibility financially to do what you need to do if you do have an area of need in the season. Jason, you had mentioned previously that year where all our running backs got hurt and we're signing Devontae Freeman and all these other guys off the scrap heap. So you just don't want to get in that situation either. But for the foreseeable future, I think they're pretty strong across the board in most positions. You know, is there a spot that I would think that they're the weakest? Maybe that second middle linebacker position, safety we talked about a little bit, and maybe a defensive lineman somewhere. I mean, you could probably argue any of those.
It's funny because that you say those positions, because I know Trenton Simpson came in and has looked really good through minicamp and in the offseason so far, and that's exactly what they needed to have happen. One other move that I think is going to pay dividends for them this year is Keaton Mitchell has come in and looked unbelievable. I mean, coming off that injury, it's funny because it always seems to take those extra months and that extra. It's not the next season; it's the season after that these guys are able to come back from those knee injuries. So those, for me, John, are two of the guys that stick out. And I know that you've been clamoring for. You think that they need to go out and get another safety. Do you still feel the same way, or what are your thoughts?
I don't think so. I think they needed another defensive back of some way, shape, or form because I think they can play one deep safety with those cornerbacks that they have. They can play the single high safety with Kyle Hamilton as that, that third linebacker, that kind of chess piece to move around on the board. So I think now with Alexander, you could play four cornerbacks and two safeties with Hamilton near the line of scrimmage. And from the stuff that I'm reading and the stuff that I'm listening to, everybody is high on Mike Green. That I think that Mike Green could be the difference, the pass rusher that we needed to get over the hump. Because what makes good pass rushing? Good defensive backs who can cover. What makes good defensive backs? Good pass rushing. So if you have both of those on the same thing, and even if they can give him an extra second to get to the quarterback, that may be the difference here for us. But I think we're set all defensive backfield. I don't see any other big moves. I mean, I can see them re-signing Linderbaum and doing those sorts of kind of Ravens things. But I don't even know how much cap space we have left now to make things work. And then, like we talked about every time, they're going to need cap space throughout the season as we have injuries, as we have, things happen to people.
Well, I think that's why they will make those moves. I think they will do either a Hamilton, a Linderbaum, or Lamar for sure. That's what seems to be the big holdup is trying to get Lamar done because that frees up the most amount of money that you're going to have so that you can still do more stuff. The one thing that I mentioned last week was Owe coming in after putting on a man that big, put on another 20 some pounds of muscle. If he becomes effective on that one side, or Mike Green becomes effective on the other side with and who am I missing?
Van
Noy. One or two of these guys are going to free up the other. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like, because you can't double team anyone by doing that. If you start double teaming, you have like Mike Green, who to me seems to be has very high expectations from a lot of people. So Owe coming in like that, if they decide they want to put more attention to his side, well, it'll free up that other side, and it might even free up the middle more. And you have guys like Travis Jones that they expect big things from. So, I mean, it's very exciting just to think. But the one thing that I do kind of say pump the brakes on a little bit is worrying about spending the money, because just like every year, there's usually a big injury in training camp. And it might be one that is for the year, or it might be one that's for 6 or 7 weeks, but whatever it is, that always seems to happen with every team, not just the Ravens. So that's where we are.
Yeah, Jason, with what you just said is, I think the guy who's going to have the biggest impact or is going to be affected most by Green is going to be Matabike in the middle. I think that because they've been able to slide the guard with the center to double team him, especially last year when we didn't have Clowney and stuff, that I think now when you have to play him straight up, is he's going to have Aaron Donald type seasons where if he's just facing the center, the other teams are in for big trouble. And I think then that's when you can bring Hamilton on the outside. You're just going to run out of blockers, or your blockers aren't going to be able to keep up. And then Matabike is just going to absolutely eat the quarterback's lunch, or, cause, just all kinds of problems back there. But I'm seeing a big season out of him. I think he's going to be the huge kind of difference maker because of the other pieces that we've already put in there.
Yeah. I mean, Mike, is there anybody that stood out to you so far this offseason, or any of these camps thus far that we haven't?
Not particularly. Malachi Starks, I think, has been everything they've asked him to be as far as what we're hearing about in camp, and just his savvy, his willingness to learn. He's light years beyond most rookies when it comes to knowing where to be. And he played Georgia. He's played against high level opponents forever, and he's had really good coaching. So I feel like he's going to step in maybe and not miss a beat. I think that's exciting. John, I couldn't agree with you more about Matabike. That I was actually going to say the same thing. I feel like he's the guy last year who maybe had a down year. But like you said, it's not just him. It's like what are they doing in the outside rush, and they're always giving him some help. So I think Matabike had, what was he, 10.5 sacks 2 years ago, something like that. He had double-digit sacks 2 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if he is one of the big winners when it comes to sacks this year. You know, I think the Ravens have done a good job of creating opportunities, like, rushing Hamilton and things like that. But I think there's going to be some more natural pass rush this year, while having to send extra guys as well. We haven't seen that in a long time, really, since Terrell Suggs. So I'm excited to see that as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but if you guys had to pick one offense and one defensive player just now, and I know it's much too soon, that you think is going to either have some sort of outstanding year, a bounce back year, just something that might not be unexpected, whatever you think, who are going to be the guys on each side of the ball that are going to be the most impressive? And I'll start with you, John.
I think Hopkins. I think Hopkins on the offensive end, he's going to get a lot of opportunities because they're going to run. He's going to be playing, the slot guy, or he's going to be playing the third or fourth defensive back. And I think DeAndre Hopkins still has some life left in his legs that he's going to really be able to ball out, because they're going to have, you got to guard Likely and Andrews and Zay and Bateman, and you got to always be watching for Lamar and then Henry and Hill. And just the list of offensive players goes on. And then who's going to get lost? Hopkins, because he'll be in the slot more than likely. And I think he's going to go off and have they're going to get their money's worth out of him. And then on the defensive end, I really think this Mike Green. I think he'll too early prediction, but he'll win defensive player of the year, or defensive rookie of the year. I think I heard Kevin say that, and I've heard several other people say that he could definitely be doing that. So those are my two, Hopkins and then Green, Green on the defense. Mike, what do you think?
Defensively, I think maybe he's not really forgotten about, but I think his ability to create turnovers now that he doesn't have to be as doesn't have to be the man. Marlon Humphrey is a guy that I think he has like defensive player of the year capabilities in a system like this, where he can go punching the ball out, or he can cover in the slot. He can make tackles, force fumbles. He can do all kinds of things. And I think he's a versatile player that's often forgotten. I mean, you could say the same thing for Kyle Hamilton, but I think Marlon's going to be a beneficiary in this defense. And then offensively, Jason, you mentioned this guy before, but I think people are forgetting about Keaton Mitchell. Like, that guy is lightning fast. And God forbid something happened to Derrick Henry, but I think we're in pretty good hands with Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell. Those guys are quick. You might need to bring in somebody for short yardage, something like that. But I think, Keaton Mitchell, big play capability, you're going to see that this year at some point. It's going to make a difference for this Ravens team.
Yeah, I mean, you stole my guy, Mike. That's who I was going with offensively, was Keaton Mitchell for sure. I do. I think because you could see they wanted to do things with him last year, but you also didn't want to keep the second best offensive player, take him out. You don't want to take Derrick Henry off the field, right? So you might play them together, something along those lines. But no, I think he is their biggest surprise, whatever you want to call it. Defensively, I have Travis Jones. I think this year he steps up mainly because of all the attention that Matabike is going to get. I mean, it's an all-pro. I mean, and I agree, John, with you, with everything that you said with Matabike, but I think Travis Jones, and he ends up being a Pro Bowler this year. If I had to go, it's not really going out on a limb. I think Kyle Hamilton wins the Defensive Player of the Year this year. So I don't know. It's all good things right now until someone goes down with an injury. Yes, John.
Basketball game is over, 103-91 OKC.
And I was correct. And you were correct, John. Mike, you were not.
I was not correct.
Nor was Jimmy.
I will just say, obviously, you were correct. Good job, everybody. But Tyler Halliburton went out with an injury in the first quarter, and it did not look good. If you saw it, he was kind of
Achilles injury.
He lunged forward, and you could tell it was the calf that was hurt, and it looked like it kind of slipped out, like the Achilles kind of went. And I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, but that is what I saw when I saw him do it.
That's what they reported. It was an Achilles injury.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, they were talking to his dad at halftime or something, and I just saw the closed caption.
If he was not hurt, and I saw they were down again by 10 with like 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Just saying, you just never know. Unfortunately, we will never know.
Well, I mean, the same thing happened to the Warriors a few years back when the Cavs won. I mean, if Kevin Durant doesn't go down and he's not hurt that whole series, I mean, I'm sorry, but that it's not even a series. It's like, yeah, that's great that LeBron James and blah, blah, blah. I'm not a LeBron James fan if you haven't figured that out yet. But it's no.
Did you see Durant added another jersey? Did you see Durant added another jersey to his collection now? He's in Houston.
Yep. He got traded to the Rockets today. I did see that. Okay. So, Mike, do you have a list for us, a game, if you will?
I do.
Oh,
I do. You want to do ballpark figures?
I can't remember the name of it. But yes, we did it last week, John. We did well. We did okay.
So, John, and for all those listeners out there who maybe missed our last episode, what I'm going to do is I want to have you come up with a list, a top 5, a top 10 of a certain category, and you have to come up with each person on that list, and then before you get 3 strikes. And I'm going to let you guys play together, and you jointly get 3 strikes. So you can discuss. Okay. You can discuss between each other. You don't have to throw an answer. It's got to be validated before you throw it out there. And then we'll see how we do with this category. Okay. So tonight's category, top 10 Orioles pitchers strikeouts of all time. So we're talking about pitchers that strike out batters, top 10 all-time Baltimore Orioles.
Okay. John, would you like to go with Jim Palmer?
I would say Jim Palmer. Yes, absolutely.
Jim Palmer, Michael.
Number 1 all time. Can anybody tell me how many-ish?
Oh, my gosh. So what are the – okay. Ugh. See, I don't even know. I don't want to say it's like a dumb number.
Like 1900?
So, you're close. 2212.
How many did Nolan Ryan have? That's what I want to know.
4,000 something.
It was like almost 5,000, I thought.
Yeah, let's check this out.
I think it was 5,000. Yeah.
Okay, so my next
you're 1 for 1. Well done.
Okay, John's looking up the Nolan Ryan strikeouts, but I think
5,714.
Is that number 1 all time? It had to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
the guy was like 70 when he got done playing.
That's awesome. Okay, Mike Messina, you cool with that, John?
Yes, absolutely.
Number 2 on the list, 1,535.
Perfect. I'm done, John. No, I'm just kidding. I'll let you.
So it's got to be some of those guys in the 70s, like Cuellar, Flanagan, and what's his name?
So
Scotty
Cuellar, McNally,
Scotty McGregor.
Okay, let's do Mike. How about Mike Flanagan? You want to do Mike Flanagan?
Sure.
Number 4 all time, 1297.
Okay. Also, let's put this guy in our back pocket in case we need it. Dennis Martinez. We'll keep him in our back pocket.
I don't like you putting people in your pocket, Jason. That's weird.
Got to put him somewhere, Mike. All right. So how about, John, how about we go Mike Cuellar?
I would 100% agree with that.
Number 5.
Mike's shaking his head. As we're talking, Mike is shaking his head. So we'll just go with this. Mike shakes his head. We'll go with that.
That was great. So wait, we have 4 for 4 so far?
4 for 4.
Okay, so
what's Scotty McGregor?
Yeah, Scotty McGregor.
Number 8, 904.
Okay.
You're halfway there. You're like Bon Jovi right now.
You want to do Dave McNally? See, I don't know how long he played, but let's do it.
Yeah, that's
Dave McNally. Mike.
He does it again.
Number 3 all time. 1,476.
Okay, so Cuellar. See, how long did Pat Dobson play for them?
Yeah, that would have been my next. That would have been my next guess. Would have been like Pat Dobson.
Yeah, let's go with Pat Dobson.
Yeah.
No. Oh, no, I did it. See, you might
the
not
strike. Strike 1. Pat Dobson's not on the list. Let's just review real quick.
Yeah, let's
Palmer,
review.
Messina, McNally, Flanagan. You said Cuellar, right?
Where
Yes.
That's
we said
5.
McGregor.
And McGregor, you have 6 and 1 strike.
Jason, did you get a strike last week?
I think I had 2. I had 2
Oh yes,
strikes.
yeah, you had 2. Yeah,
I was
2.
down to and I got like 4 guys with 2 strikes. It was
So
crazy.
I'm trying to think of like another guy who was on the team.
Maybe
for a
take one of
long
the
time.
guys out of your pockets. I don't know who's in
Yeah,
there.
let's
but
do El
Th- th-
Presidente, Dennis Martinez.
Des Martinez.
he's number 10 at 858.
See, I know
So
he
I'm
played
trying
for
to
him.
think of like who was
So the
on
rest
team.
have more than 858.
Yeah. So I'm thinking longevity here. That's why. And like nobody
Scott
else
Eric-
in the 90s, though. Like Scott Erickson was.
Scott Erickson. That's the only guy I thought, because he was there like 6 years, 5 years from like he was there from like 94 to 2000 or something. And there's
feel like
nobody
that's
in the.
I feel like that's a pocket guy.
Yeah, I feel like that's the guy to put in your back pocket for later.
Just keep him out of your front pocket. That gets weird, all right? So just put him in the
Yeah.
back pocket.
Yeah, and we don't really have any relievers who
So
were
here's-
here for a long, long time.
Was there anyone before Jim Palmer started playing? Because if there's
N-
anyone before McNally and Cuellar and stuff, I might be. Oh crap!
There are the last 3 are going to be tough. The last
Oh
3
no!
I think you can get at least one of them though.
All right, hold on here.
Huh.
Cuellar, McNally.
But I am going to give you like a minute because, this
Yeah.
is not as exciting to listen to as it is to watch your face
All
right
right.
now.
So how many more do we need?
3. You need 3. You need number 6, number 7, and number 9 all time.
And you said these are going to be.
6.
Are they all
7,
old?
and 9.
Are they all old?
I believe so because I never watched any of them pitch.
All right. So now we're back in like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, and that's beyond my. Like I know Paul,
All right.
all those guys.
Let me get.
Go ahead.
What about John? Do you want to go with like Milt Pappas?
Yes, absolutely,
That's Milt
absolutely.
Yes.
Milt Pappas.
Number
yeah.
6 all time with 944. That's the one I thought you might get.
Okay.
Now there's 2
who's
more.
Who's the knuckleball closer?
Hoyt, no.
Yeah, but he didn't
Hoyt-
play. He didn't start, right? Well, he did. I think.
Yeah, Hoyt
But
Wilhelm.
I don't think it is.
That would be the only. But I don't think he was he.
I don't think he played long enough.
I don't
also
think he
pitched
played
for the
long enough.
Yankees, some other team.
Yeah, he played for a bunch of teams.
So Milt Pappas.
Milt, yeah, because I'm trying to think like who else was on those World Series teams but it's probably in the early 60s.
Are we
though,
before
all
the
those-
70s, Mike? At this point, you don't know.
Yeah, I don't have every stat about this person. I just got a list. So
Okay, so we got
mean,
2. We got 2.
give me a
about-
couple guesses. Give me a couple guesses.
See, I don't think he played for him long enough. But what about Steve Stone?
Steve Stone is not on the top 25.
He wouldn't say.
So strike 2.
Well, no, he
Yeah,
didn't. No, that's not a strike. He didn't ask me. He just
One
So
more
that's
guess.
Oh, John.
I'm
Hoyt-
saving our listeners. So
Yeah, I
ahead,
don't.
Jim.
I don't even have like a thought of anybody you could think of.
I'm trying to think who else was on some of those old staffs. Oh, who's Grimsley?
no. So unfortunately, strike 3. But you guys got 8 out of 10, which is still pretty daggone
That's
good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
The guys that you missed were number 7 all time with 918 is Steve Barber,
Oh yeah.
and number 9 all time with 884 is Jack Powell.
I've never heard of Jack Powell.
I've
I
never
knew
heard of Jack
it was
Powell.
Steve Barber,
I've heard
but
of
he
Steve-
wouldn't.
Now, a couple interesting names. Number 11 all time, Chris Tillman. Chris
Really?
Tillman with 847. 12 was Sidney Ponson. Mike Boddicker, 13.
Okay. I would have.
Scotty Erickson, like you mentioned, was 699, was 16th. Gaussman, Danny Cabrera, 19th with 651. Eric Bedard, 20th with 639. Ben McDonald, Rodrigo Lopez, Dylan Bundy, Jeremy Guthrie, and Tippy Martinez to round out the top 25.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know the one guy that. But that was good, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, good stuff. Well done.
Ballpark figures.
All right. Well, while we're on the whole baseball thing, real quick, let's do our picks for next week for the Orioles series. So they have 3 games against Texas, and they have 3 games against Tampa. So we need our predictions for our punishment game. So, John, do you have a prediction of the next 6 games?
The next 6 games, I think they will go 4-2.
Oh, optimistic Lance Craner.
Yes, we're going to be optimistic this time.
All right. What about you, Mike?
4-2.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy.
Just
okay.
go 4-2, so we're all tied. There's no winners, no losers.
No, I'm not doing that.
He's not gonna do that. He
Oh,
wouldn't do that in a
well,
million years.
Here's another Mighty Ducks. I hate ties. It's like kissing your sister.
Kissing.
Let me tell you about Jack Powell, Jason, really quick, because we talked about Jack Powell.
Yes,
As
please.
you were.
He played for the St. Louis Browns
Oh,
from 1905 to 1912. So it's franchise technically top
Oh, wow.
10 all time. So
Oh, but that doesn't. Oh my god,
that's crazy.
there's no way in hell we would have got. You could have given us days to think about that, and that ain't gonna happen.
Absolutely not. All right.
there you go.
All right. I'm going to go. Oh, man. See, I always cheer against myself because I'm very pessimistic. I'm going to go 2-4. I'm not even going 500. I'm sorry, guys. But
Well, let me change mine to 3-3 so that we're all kind of different.
Yeah, but you got to go with your heart, John. You just don't go.
You said you gotta go with your gut. You said that earlier. You said I gotta go with my gut.
I'm leaving you at 4-2.
My heart says 6-0, but then my brain says that ain't happening. So
Well, I like the optimistic feeling. I'm just afraid that they have themselves in this little situation now, and the Rangers make me want to wet myself. They scared the crap out of me. All right. So,
Jason, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I know.
You want to wet yourself, but then they scare the crap out of you. So that comes out of
both.
2 different ends.
Yeah, so does both.
Sounds messy either way.
Yeah, it's not exciting. It's definitely not. It's terrifying.
Absolutely.
It's like all those years of the Ravens playing Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. It's terrifying. Okay, so I did just want to do a quick little segment on fantasy football. And it's mainly because I was bombarded this week with a invitation to do a redraft league. So that's not a dynasty league. A redraft league is just your regular old fantasy league, but it's by these people. Like the guy that's in charge is usually a guy that does dynasty. So even though it's a redraft league, it still has this dynasty feel to it, which is crazy. It has 26 rounds. And we are currently in round 22. Okay. So I had the number 2 pick in this draft, and it's a super flex league draft. So that means you can play 2 quarterbacks, if you guys are familiar with that. So you definitely so you have a quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, 2 flex spots, and a super flex spot where you can put a quarterback in there or any other position. Okay, no defense, no kickers, nothing like that. I had the 2nd overall pick. Who do you guys think I would have taken?
Well, either Mahomes or Jackson, depending on who was available.
Mike?
Maybe Allen.
Who was number 1?
Jamar Chase.
I think Lamar is a good pick. I think Justin Jefferson is somebody I would think about maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So they do this computer generated like draft thing, right? And they do it like 3 times, and then you get to pick your draft spot. And I was the 7th pick, so I'm like, oh, I don't know where I'm going to pick, like somewhere in the middle or something. All these guys take they like to be on the turn, like the 12, the 11. The guy before me picked the number 1 spot, so I picked the number 2 spot. And I went with Justin Jefferson, mainly because the way that I play Superflex is everyone jumps for these quarterbacks, right? And yeah, it's good if you can get Lamar Jackson, it's great. I could have, but I passed on him to get the receiver. because everyone's going all of these quarterbacks. I loaded up on wide receiver. And I usually don't start taking a quarterback in a league like this until 10 of them are off the board. So once when the 10 are off, that's when I start getting interested in that. So my first pick was Justin Jefferson. My next pick was AJ Brown. My third pick was Kyron Williams. My fourth pick was T. Higgins. So we are now in the fifth round, and I haven't taken a quarterback yet. But when I do wait this long, and I'm like monitoring the whole thing just to see who's still there, the point being, I think that if you can get these top-notch players at these positions and get like as many top 12 running backs and top 12 receivers, or even top 20, the quarterbacks, there isn't a huge difference, right, between Lamar Jackson and I took Justin Herbert. Because I think where you're making up the difference is in the receiver position. So I ended up taking Herbert and Goff back to back. And that's where I got my quarterbacks. And then I took Kamara, Waddle, Pacheco, blah, 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 blah.
Well, I mean, the only flaw I see in that potentially is if somebody gets two ridiculously good quarterbacks. Other than that, you have somebody getting a Jackson, a Mahomes, and then they're getting somebody who's not as good as those guys that you took on the back end, and it tends to even out a little bit when you have two quarterbacks you're playing. So if you have Herbert and Goff, they're solid, top 15 quarterbacks, if not better. And they have the ceiling potential to be top 5 if they can really have that year. So I can definitely understand that for sure. So my question, Jason, for you, I have a couple, you said we're going to talk fantasy today for a few minutes. I have a couple questions for you. The first one, which of the second-year quarterbacks do you see taking the biggest leap this year? We're talking guys like Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May. Any of them poised to have a Lamar or Mahomes type season?
Jalen Daniels, if anybody's paying attention, is like the number 1 overall pick in any dynasty fantasy football league right now. It's super flex wise. So quarterback, he is the top quarterback going off of everybody's board in a dynasty. So, but if you're looking for like a 1 year, second year, I don't know if it's a real big jump for Jalen Daniels because he had such a good year last year. I mean, I had him got him in the 11th round of a couple drafts and won every league I had him. Because if you can get productivity from the quarterback in the 11th round like that, holy crap. So, but as far as the biggest jump, I think Drake May is going to be a steal. And that might be the guy you can get in the 11th round or so in a 1 quarterback league. So that would be my guess. I think he's going to have the biggest jump for this year.
And kind of the piggyback then on that, Jason, because I know I threw Caleb Williams' name out there. There's a coaching change in Chicago, right? Ben Johnson's taken over as the head coach there. He has an offensive mind. Maybe that has an impact on, the quarterback and maybe the receiving room in Chicago. What coaching change this offseason that maybe took place in the NFL do you see having the biggest impact on fantasy football? You have Ben Johnson, you have Vegas, and you have Pete Carroll down there, and Chip Kelly. You've got Vrabel in New England. So there have been, and then Kellen Moore in New Orleans. So there have been some coaching changes. Do you see that any way impacting these guys and how they're used or their stat production fantasy football wise?
Yeah, I mean, if you have to rate those, obviously the Kellen Moore situation would be the least attractive. I mean, he kind of got dealt a bad hand with Carr retiring, and now they're throwing out a rookie who, I mean, again, could be a good fantasy year for him. They might be down a lot. So what is it, Tyler Shuff? He's going to be the guy out there that is going to get a lot of attention. But as far I'm clogged at the top. I think you can give Ben Johnson the nod there, but Pete Carroll, I think the Raiders, first of all, are going to surprise a lot of people this year. I think they could make a push to make the playoffs. That's my sleeper pick. But I think the Vrabel one might be on the running game alone because he likes to play defense and run the football. That's going to be a big one. Same thing with Pete Carroll and Genty. But Ben Johnson, I mean, he was given a lot of talent already. I mean, if Caleb Williams can't do well with that. So somewhere between Vrabel and Johnson, I'm like right there. I mean, they're both going to be two offenses I wouldn't mind having a good piece of.
Yeah, and another guy I forgot to mention you could throw out there is Liam Cohen in Jacksonville. He taking over. He was part of Baker Mayfield's success there in Tampa and his kind of renaissance there. Does he have what it takes to resurrect Trevor Lawrence, who's had maybe a little bit of a lull in his career? They certainly have enough weapons, adding Travis Hunter and, some of the other guys they already have in there, the running back group they added in there. They've done some things. So they have weapons. Is that something that you could see maybe coming to fruition in Jacksonville, or do you think that that's just Trevor Lawrence is a lost cause?
I definitely want pieces of the Jacksonville offense. Thomas obviously he might be the number one overall, compete for the number one overall receiver. Hunter's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. He could put up some numbers, but that's kind of iffy. As a rookie, if they play him on defense, whatever. The running game's okay. It's funny because you don't know who to take there. Do you take ETN? Do you take the rookie they drafted? There's a lot of players to feed there potentially because they have two rookies. Was it Butte or Butte? I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Him and the other ETN. Or no, wait, no, he's in Carolina. So it's like there's a lot of question marks there. But as far as Trevor Lawrence, it depends who you ask. I mean, I have him in a couple dynasty leagues, but this is it. If he doesn't do it this year, I mean, that's going to be it. So I'm kind of on the fence with him. I don't know whether to commit or not. So the only other thing I wanted to say about that draft, because you had mentioned somebody having two quarterbacks. I was just going through this again. So after people took quarterbacks in the first round, no one took a quarterback again till the fourth round. So like somebody took, let's see. Yeah, I don't even know. They took like Jordan Love and Jaden Daniels. I mean, okay. That's no different to me than Herbert and Goff. Goff's put up some crazy numbers. So, but I was hoping to just do a single quarterback one, because with single quarterback and just anyone out there that's new to fantasy this year. And we just a side note here, we're going to actually do a fantasy football contest with you all. You all get to try to come in and compete with us. We'll do at least one league, maybe more if we have a lot of people. But if you are doing fantasy for the first year, obviously quarterback to me is still a position where you can wait. I've always been that way. You want to watch Lamar because Lamar's fun to watch, but you don't need him early. You don't need him in the third round. Just keep loading up on your players. Yeah, that'd be my piece.
So one more question, unless you have something else, Jason, on the fantasy football front. The debate between the zero running back versus the hero running back. So like the strategy of, with the volatility at the running back position, the strategy of focusing on receivers early, which is something clearly you like in that really big redraft league with the super flex, or focus on those few like clear cut bell cow, Saquon, Derrick Henry, whoever those, and maybe it's Genty, whoever it is for you. And taking that more hero running back approach, is that more appealing? And what are maybe the advantages of each?
So to me, I don't go into any draft with a plan of this is what I'm going hero running back, because it all depends on where you're picking in the draft and what everybody else takes. If everyone because there's always going to be somebody that reaches for a quarterback in the first round or first two rounds, whatever. That's fine. Let them do that. And then there might be people that just start cleaning off the running backs. Last year I ended up going receiver. Like my first four picks were receivers because I just kept waiting because everyone was passing up on these receivers. And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to keep taking them. And I could start all four. So I just started loading up on them. And taking the big guys I can't remember who I had, but they were all, I was like Nico Collins and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka were my first three picks. And obviously I won that league. And then I took Jaden Daniels later. but I love hero running back. If it falls that way, that's what I want to do. I want to take my running back in the second to third round, depending on where I am, who's still on the board in the first round. But I'd love to take him and not have to worry about it. So you take the hero, and then you start taking clear out your receivers, start taking them, unless somebody like McBride happens to fall or somebody like that. Or Brock Bowers. And then as these guys start to fall, then you automatically turn to running back, and you're taking running back, running back, running back, or like 2 or 3, and you're loading up. That's how you supplement your hero running back. Love that strategy. So I'm not a fan of anything that's 0. So 0 running back, it's just, to me, is nerve wracking. I don't want to do that. I know plenty of guys that have been doing this a lot longer than I have that are very successful at it, but I don't ever want to just write off a position and hope that I hit on something.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously with running backs, there's a variety of different situations in different running back rooms where you have clear-cut number 1 running backs, and you have split backfields, and you have handcuffs that are more possible than others. And so I think, with the amount of injuries in the running back room, you're pretty good with that strategy there in the middle of taking 1, 2, 3 of those guys, and they're not all going to pan out, right? But one of those guys is more than likely going to maybe see starter minutes at some point in the season. So, if you have that bell cow and then that one additional running back, I think that strategy makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I did it in this draft I was talking about by taking Kyron Williams. But like, you have to decide for yourself based on your rankings and whoever's rankings you're following, who you consider is going to be your hero, because you don't want your hero to be like Rashad White, or your hero to be, and that's who my hero was last year. And then I went, oh crap. And then he was for a while, and I
Captain
still won with him.
Underpants. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, oh no. But so you want to make sure that you have a list of those guys, and where does that hero end? Like, obviously with me, I have like Kyron and Achan, and then all the big names like Hunter and Saquon. I think McCaffrey's still a hero that you can take. So, but then once you get past them and you don't take them, then you're in. So you're like, okay, now I'm going to take these running backs, and then I'm going to load up. Then you're essentially 0 running back. But you don't want that 0 to fall out of guys that are starting. Don't have a bunch of backups like Bayshal Tootin. That's who I was thinking of earlier. And guys like that. So I don't know. That's my advice. Don't use it against me when we all play together, because then that would suck. So that is the downside of this. You give out, you talk about your fantasy strategies, and then everyone uses them against you.
Yeah, I'm taking copious notes here.
Right, I can see that. Oh my goodness.
Maybe this year I'll be the big winner.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I wish you the best of luck. Oh, John's back. Hi, John.
I'm back.
Good to see you, buddy. All right. Well, so I guess that brings us here to our last segment. Are you guys prepared with your Blast from the Past Ravens edition players?
I am. I don't think anybody's done this fellow yet.
All right. I have to do a little bit of research while you're doing this. So, Mike, I'll let you tell everyone what this game is.
This game is called Blast from the Past. And in this segment, we each choose a former athlete. In this particular segment, we're doing Baltimore Ravens players. And we kind of give hints that describe this player without trying to get to the central part of that player's career, and use the peripheral hints to try to have these people guess the player. And then we get a little bit easier as we go. So that is basically what Blast from the Past is. John, do you want to start, or do you want me to start, or how do you want to go about
Mike? You can start, Mike.
Okay, I will start. All right. My former Raven is a former professional football player. Did you know that? He was born May 27th, 1978. He enjoys long walk. No, he does. He played college football for the Western Illinois Leathernecks. Additionally, he played for the Wisconsin Badgers briefly. You guys got it?
Oh,
Jason's nodding his head. Do you already know who it is? Did you already look him up?
The
No, I'm-
leathernecks.
Just so you guys know, I am trying to find out who I'm going to use. So I'm not cheating, I promise. I don't
the
even know what a
leathernecks
leather.
and the Badgers.
Yep.
Who was?
He was a 2010 UFL champion.
2010.
Yep, that's cool.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get around. I'm trying to stay on the perimeter here. Let's see. After the 2004 season, he became a free agent and was signed to a 6-year, $26.25 million contract as a linebacker.
For the Ravens?
Nope, that's after he left the Ravens.
Is it Donnell Ellerby?
Nope.
Oh.
He spent 2 injury-plagued seasons with this second team before he was released in 2007.
Jared Johnson?
Nope. He played in only 13 games, recording 63 tackles and 1 sack for the second team that he played for. He also signed with the Bengals, but was released before he played a game in 2007. And in 2008, similarly, he signed with the Raiders, but also was released before playing a game. But his championship in the UFL was with the Las Vegas Locomotives in 2010.
Did we do
He
position
played-
yet by any chance?
It was a linebacker. Linebacker.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right.
That's why you said
Linebacker.
Donnell Ellerby.
Donnell Ellerby, right.
All right,
That's
let's
what I
talk
said.
Ravens a little bit. In the
This is
4th
so
round of the 2001 NFL draft, the Ravens took this gentleman. And he played for the Ravens from 2001 to 2004. He never missed a game, though he was limited to special teams in 2001. He finished his career with the Ravens with 337 tackles, 6 sacks, and 1 interception. When he left the Ravens, he joined the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh. Oh, poopy. It's like right on my.
Yes, I know. That's what I was thinking, Jason. He went from
Oh,
the
this one's gonna piss
Ravens,
me off. I'm not
to
gonna be
the-
able to guess it, and he's gonna.
Falcons
Say
to
it.
the Bengals to the Raiders.
Oh, I know who it is. too.
You're only going to know the Ravens and Falcons. The other ones, he didn't really play.
Yeah. He was released.
He
before
filed
the
for
league.
divorce in August 24th, 2011.
Huh.
You might say that his cardiovascular system is good.
Oh gosh.
Huh. That's,
What the hell?
I don't know. Cardiovascular system.
Cardio good.
Is it fit?
Oh, Edgerton Hartwell.
That is correct.
Hartwell.
I swear to God, I
there-
didn't. I swear to God, I didn't cheat. I'm actually. Well, I can't show you because then you'll get my guy.
Edgerton Hartwell is correct.
Edgerton
I knew
Hartwell.
it.
Ed
It was one
Hartwell.
of
Now,
those guys.
yeah. Ugh.
He had a,
All right.
he had a
Oh,
couple
well
good
done.
seasons with Baltimore. He was a
So
good player.
my guy played, let's see, 7, 8, 9. He played 10 years in the NFL with the Seahawks, Falcons, Bears, and Ravens. Not necessarily in that order. He's from Riviera Beach, Florida. He was a wide receiver and special teams player.
Marcus Robinson?
No.
Dadgummit.
He went to
Holy
the
cow.
University of Miami. 3-time first team All-Pro. 1-time second team All-Pro. 4-time Pro Bowler. 2-time kickoff return leader. 2-time punt return leader.
Wait, what teams did he play for again?
The Seahawks, the Falcons, the Ravens, and the Bears.
Devin Hester.
Yes.
I forgot he played for the Seahawks. That's why he threw one for me.
Yeah, he was probably a better runner than he was actually a football player. He holds the Big East record in the long jump and the 60 meters. He ran a 10.42 100-meter dash. That's only
Holy
about
cow.
75th 7.75 of a second slower than the world record.
Oh, my guy's going to be fun.
Uh-oh. That's not a good thing. That look on Jason's face, Mike. So if you guys, we should probably tell our audience, we record these live on Facebook on Sunday and Wednesday nights about 9:30, 9:35ish. If you guys want to come on live and chat with us, that would be great. We would love that. And YouTube, Facebook and YouTube.
I got to be careful on this one. I can't give out too much stuff because Mike will get it in a heartbeat. Mainly because of, I don't want to say too much. Okay. So my feller.
Keep talking, Jason.
No. My feller was drafted by the Giants in the 6th round of the 2003 NFL draft. All right. You guys know who it is?
You say 6th round?
6. After 5, before 7.
Got it.
Okay. He played for the Giants. He played for the, what the hell team is that? Oh, he played for the Green Bay Packers. He played for the Ravens, the Vikings, and the Cowboys. He played 9 years in the NFL from 2003 to 2011. Okay. He was a Raven from 2008 through 2009. He played 29 games for the Ravens. He was a defensive back. I hate this person with every fiber of my being. Hate this guy. I can't, Mike, I want to do it, but I can't because John won't have any idea what I'm talking about. Actually, you might. At one point, I did a streak on Facebook asking why this fellow was a Raven for over 60 straight days.
Oh, I remember that.
I do. I remember this
I remember
too.
you doing that.
This guy was a terrible football player. But apparently I was the only person that realized it. And none of the Ravens brass paid attention.
You said he was a defensive back?
Yep. He went to Tuskegee College. That's in Tuskegee, Alabama, in case you guys are wondering. Let's see, what stats? What did he do? He didn't do anything productive. So
I remember him, but I can't remember his name.
I'm going to go back to Jason's Facebook and look.
Nope, don't do it. Church hands, everyone. While he was he had 9 interceptions in his career. Let's see. He played 107 games. He was terrible. But he was a starting defensive. He was a starting corner. I'll say cornerback for them. Again, from 2008 and 2009, the 2 seasons he played.
But he was with the Giants before that.
He was drafted by the Giants. He from 2003 to 2006, the Giants, and he played the 1 year with the Packers, 2007 in between.
Giants, Packers, Vikings, Cowboys.
And the Ravens. So Giants, Packers, Ravens, Vikings, Cowboys. I mean, he played 25 games with the Vikings and Cowboys.
Gosh.
He didn't play them well. God, terrible football player.
I assume he was our second corner.
Yeah. I don't know who the other corner was at that time. Was it Samari
Jimmy
Roll?
Smith, maybe?
Jimmy Smith?
No, it was Samari Roll.
But then Samari Roll had that illness for a while that kept him out.
Right.
So
Jimmy Smith was drafted in 07.
God, he was a terrible football player.
I'm trying to think of Giants.
He played 29 games with the Ravens.
Jimmy Smith was there in 08 and 09.
Right.
And so was Samari Roll. And
you guys just want me to tell you?
It wasn't Brandon Carr. No, I can't.
No. It was Frank frickin' Walker.
Frank Walker.
41.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember that.
I do remember.
Terrible.
I remember. I'm gonna go back to your Facebook, Jason, and just pull up.
I think I got like 60 straight days of it. It actually made the radio. It made 105.7. They mentioned it. They're like, I was friends with like Casey Willett and guys like that at the time. And they were like, oh my gosh, there's this one fan that does blah, blah, blah. So I called in and discussed it. I'm like, he's terrible. But yeah,
Those
I mean,
were-
that was. Ugh.
Why do you hate Frank Walker so much, Jason? It's
Because
not
he's
nice.
a terrible football player.
He might be a wonderful human. I don't know.
We're not
Would've been-
talking about his humanitarianism. I don't even know if that's a word. We're
He
talking
made
about
it up. It is now.
we're
would've
talking
been
about
better
his
if it was
ability to
L-
play football.
I agree.
Larry Walker. We should have the Orioles should have drafted Larry Walker back in the day.
He's in the
That would
Hall
have
of
been
Fame.
much better. I know.
I think he played baseball. What? I don't understand. What's the?
He
it's
said
just
the
last
Orioles. He
name.
switched it.
I
switched it.
I can't keep up.
I said Walker, Larry Walker. He was a heck of a hockey player and a good baseball player. Orioles should have.
I didn't realize that was going to be so hard. It was so hard because he didn't do anything productive to talk about. He was just there. Dude, he got
Yeah.
burnt. Like, so bad. So bad.
Well,
he got beaten like he stole something.
I got to get up early tomorrow, guys.
Me too.
So
you're not
I
done school
gotta-
yet?
Well, school's finally over, but I do this soccer conditioning with my girls 2 days a week at 6 a.m. still. So, and I got to get my kids up and take them with me. They're at soccer camp next week, and I'm counselor at camp from 9 to 3 all week. So I'm not really done till this week's over.
Yeah,
All
I gotta
right.
get up early too.
Yeah, you're getting fake booze from the airport. You're gonna get a bottle of water and a Jim Beam bottle, and you're gonna
Yeah,
really enjoy
probably
it.
something
Oh,
like that.
delicious.
I'm sure.
Delicious.
Some
Maybe
All right,
some
Mike.
Coca-Cola.
Why don't you take us home, Michael?
Yeah, let's go home. It's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Dad Bots, Crab Cakes, and Sports. Thanks for hanging out with us this evening. Please don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're at it, please leave us a review. It helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Be sure to follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes action, bad sports takes. You can find us at dadbods_crabcakes_sports on Instagram and at dadbods crabcakes and sports on our Facebook page. If you have a question or topic you'd like us to cover, please hit us up at dadbodscrabcakesandsports@gmail.com, because you never know, we might just shout you out in our next episode. Until next time, though, keep on rocking those dad bods, eating those crab cakes, and never miss the game.
Adios.
Sayonara.